Hello, my name is Loese Ufwa. Today I will be performing labs 1A, B, C, D, and E for MA 3901 course. The general objective is to learn basic techniques on how to use and program an Arduino. The first lab I'll be showing you is lab 1A. So for this one, the LED and the resistor is already in. I connected pin 13 into the breadboard and grounded it using the blue wire, and it lit up. For 1B, I added 2 more LED lights and resistors for each one, and the lights essentially will the lights should sequentially light up, all 3 of them. This is very similar to 1A. What I'm doing is instead of 1 LED light, I have 3. And instead of just pin 13, they're connected to pin 13, pin 12, and pin 11. But there is still only one power source needed, which is coming from the 5 volts on the left of the Arduino, and that is grounded on the breadboard on the negative side. All 3 LED lights did use 3 separate resistors for this, and they essentially all worked lighting up. So for this one, lab 1C, I am trying to configure a fade sequence using the PWM so that the single LED can raise and lower its intensity. Since the LED is raising and lowering its intensity, I used 2 power sources. One is 5 volts and the other is just a ground, and that's on to the left of the Arduino. So pin 13 is connected adjacent to the LED light as well as the physical resistor. So the resistor is grounded by another wire that is connected to the positive side of the breadboard. And here you can see the LED raising and lowering its intensity, very much so because of the code that I made that I will show later for this. So for the next one, I'm not sure where the video went. I think I lost it, but here's a quick clip. I basically introduced a button to the programming. I used 2 power sources, 2 resistors. 1 resistor was for the LED, and then the other one was for the button. I used pin 13 as well as a ground pin. Pin 13 was grounded in the negative side of the board, and yeah, essentially I pressed the button and the LED would light up. Here is a quick video. And for the last one, I used a potentiometer. As you can see, I'm inserting it into the breadboard here. I used that instead of a physical resistor. And this potentiometer, you can actually turn the knob for intensity. So very similarly to 1A, just instead of a resistor, it's the potentiometer. I had pin 13 connected and adjacent to the potentiometer. And I had a power source of 5 volts, and which you will see later, it will light up. Here we go. And the intensity is increased with the turn of the knob. So here we have the code for lab 1A. Pin 13 has an LED connected to this Arduino board, so integer LED 1 is equal to 13. Void setup is the setup routine, which runs once I press the reset button, and we go into pin mode with LED 1 and the output, which initializes the digital pin as an output. Then the LED is turned on high with void loop. Then the same thing is done with integer LEDs 1, 2, and 3 equaling 13, 12, and 11. The output is for the light to light up, and I put a delay of 1 second between each. For lab 1C, the pin 13 is used again, and I set the brightness of the LED to 0 at first, and the points of how it could fade to equal 5. Then I set up the routine. I'm not sure why it says pin 9. It should say pin 13. But I set up the routine, then went to the loop where it runs again and again forever. Then I changed the brightness for the next time through the loop. Brightness equals brightness plus fade amount. I then reversed the direction of the fade and made it wait 30 milliseconds to see the dimming effect. For lab 1D, I turned on the LED light on a high voltage, 5. I waited for 1 second, then turned the LED off with the low voltage. For this lab, I also introduced a button where it was an integer which described the state of the button, and it had to be at either 0 or 1 for a high or low voltage. So for the final part, this code was very identical to the first one because I still used the same code, just a potentiometer. And ultimately, the potentiometer was able to run, proving intensity differences.